for the next episode. Can't wait to get home and turn my TV on. I'm ready for the next episode. Got my snap shoes off, no remote control. I'm ready for the next episode.
Hi, welcome back to next episode with your host. I'm Nick.
And I'm Jess.
And so we're going to continue. This is actually going to be our last episode talking about Kevin Can F Himself. The last episode, we started talking about the extra characters in the show and their relationship with Allison. So we're going to continue that conversation and we're going to discuss Sam. So Sam to me is the classic good guy that you see on TV shows. And what this show does, I feel like really good, is they actually show what that looks like. That good guy character is actually a terrible
Mm-hmm.
person because he is, I feel like, just as destructive as Kevin is. He's just not
Mm-hmm.
that destructive when it comes to Allison, but he destroys other people in the same way that Kevin does. Do you agree with that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do agree with that. I do. I don't think he's a good person either. I do think though, and now we'll get into first why he's a bad person, but I do think he has a little bit of growth though.
I don't know. We'll see.
I
We'll
do.
talk. I think we can debate about that point. And maybe I just really
Mm-hmm.
dislike this character. I'm glad
Oh,
he's
I don't
in the
like him
show.
either.
I'm glad he was
Yeah.
in the show. He was great for the story. He was great,
Mm-hmm.
for showing the other side of the good guy. But oh my gosh, as a person, I hate that guy.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
Allison, like we said previously, Allison and Sam were friends in high school. They worked together. They had like a romantic relationship while he was in a relationship with someone else. And so they see each other again many, many years later. Like this was like 17. So they're 35. She just walks into the diner and she didn't know that he owned the diner because he had moved away with his wife, who was the same girl that he used to cheat with Allison on. Um,
Mm-hmm.
they had moved away. I think did they move to New York?
Oh, maybe yeah.
I think they
I think
moved to
so. I
New
think it was.
York.
Oh, no,
Oh,
Syracuse, New York. Well,
yeah,
it's still New
Syracuse
York,
is
but
in
yeah.
New York. Yeah, they had moved to New York, and then they moved back home to Worcester, and he owned a diner. And so when I first see them like kind of reunite, I'm kind of happy for Allison because I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, like somebody from like your past, somebody that's like you don't know through Kevin. So I'm like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
you found like a safe space. Like that's nice. And like one of the first things we learn about Sam is that he is a recovering alcoholic. He's been sober for like 8 years, and he asked Allison, he's like, so are you like a recovering alcoholic or do you go to AA? And she's like, no, what are you talking about? And I thought that was interesting because
Oh, wow.
Allison is on the show is not really a big drinker that we
No,
see.
you don't see her drinking a lot. Yeah.
So I wonder, like, and he knew her when she was 17. So once again, during the
Mm-hmm.
same time period when the mom was like saying, hey, you're talking about going to college, I don't even see that for you. We like it's during the same time period he knew her and
Mm-hmm.
he thought that she would be an alcoholic. And so I just think that there's some deeper layers to her that can be explored. Like I don't she's been a mess for a long time. I think. So they meet up and like she kind of ropes him into like her hijinks and she has him doing all sorts
Mm-hmm.
of things. What are some of the things that she has him doing for her?
Well, let's see. After she just up and quits her job, she gets him to give her a job at the diner.
So previously she was
Um,
working at the liquor store with her aunt Diane and she just
mhm,
quits one day.
mhm. So she got him to give her a job. Um, what is it? What are some other things? I feel like it was a lot, but now I'm trying to think of it. Well, basically, she kind of like to kind of, I feel like, to meet her own needs, they end up having an affair. And the affair is kind of on Allison's terms. So when she wants that connection with him, she has it. When she doesn't, it doesn't really matter what he wants. Um, and I think he tries to draw her into a little bit more of an emotional kind of than affair than just sex, and she's like, nope, that's not what I want. That's not what I'm here for. Or we can be emotional on my side. I don't want to hear about your problems.
Right. But he's married
And but yes, they're both married.
the entire
They're both
time.
married
Right.
the entire time. Um, what are some other things that
I know that she
he
asked him
has?
for like help. She implies when she needs money.
Money, yeah.
But yeah, she very much like kind of treats him like a doormat. And like through his relationship with her, like he ends
Hmm.
up like losing his marriage. He almost loses his business. Like he's in a worse place, I personally feel like. I
Hmm.
think he sees himself that he's in a better place because he was unhappy in his marriage.
Hmm.
But he was, I think he was unhappy, but I feel like
Hmm.
he could have worked, him and his wife could have worked things out if
I
they were
don't.
both honest. I feel like they were both, if they were both honest with each other. Like,
I don't think that they are right for each other.
mm,
I don't think that they're a good fit, and I understand why her parents don't like him.
I do too. No. I do
I,
too. Because
yeah,
he's annoying.
I don't think he. I don't think that they could have worked things out because I don't think he ever really liked her. I think she was convenient. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Like the whole time that they were together in high school, he's really chasing Allison and is upset that he can't really have Allison. But he settles for this woman with the rich parents. You know what I mean? With the
mm-hmm,
money
mm-hmm,
that can get him the things that he wants. You know what I mean? But he never talks about her favorably. There's no chemistry between them. And I'm like, why does she want him? And then if he's like, and one time I think he's in AA and he's describing like how bad things got, because I thought it was alcohol, but did he describe heroin?
no,
And
it was alcohol. He said one time he got so drunk he stole someone's heroin. But
yeah, okay.
he was drinking.
Okay, but here's my point. So he's been sober for 8 years. They've been together also since high school. What did she go through with him from 17 to when he got sober 8 years ago? If you were drinking and if you were that much, an alcoholic at that point, that
Hmm.
you are now like experimented or stole somebody's heroin, got into it with someone over some heroin. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? That
Yeah.
is my point. So what has she been through and what have her parents seen her go through with him and then still invested in his business and gave him money to start that business? Yeah, they don't like him. They don't have any reason to like him. They see him as the person who ruined their daughter's life, and I agree.
I understand why the parents don't like him because
But yeah.
like, I wonder before this business, what was he doing
Hmm.
for work? I don't think that
Yeah.
he's ever really been like a provider or even an equal provider in the house. I think that they've been
Mm-mm.
kind of like living off of her parents all of this time. And
Hmm.
the girl has issues with her parents, which is understandable, but
Hmm.
his issues with her parents, I feel like, are because they try to hold him accountable. Like, hey, you're an adult,
Hmm.
you're a man, you need to stand up. And he's like, oh, well, your mom works the business profits into the conversation.
Hmm.
Well, they gave you money
Hmm.
to start a business. They are your investors. They have that right. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And then,
Yeah.
he's like, oh, your dad's always trying to be a nice guy. Like, once again, these people are doing you a favor, and you're looking
Letting
down
you
on
live in
these
their house.
people. Like
Hmm.
your house,
Yeah.
that diner, I can tell, is not making a lot of money. Yet your wife is renovating the kitchen. Do you know how much it costs to renovate a kitchen?
Hmm.
Her parents are footing that bill too. You know,
Well, she might work. She looks like, I mean, she at least dresses like she has a job. Um, So I don't know, but like, yeah, I do think that her parents give her a lot of money. I think she probably works and also takes on way too much. But I don't think that's what I'm saying. I don't think that their relationship is repairable because I think it's usury in nature. I don't think he likes that girl. I don't think he ever really liked her. She was there and she can meet his needs.
I don't
And I
I wonder, like, I don't know.
Mhm.
I know once Allison entered the picture, there was that relationship was over from the first time. But I
but
wonder if
what did you
Allison would
see
have never
as to
gotten
why they
into
would
the
want to?
picture. You said what?
But even before they did, like, what did you see that what you would even say that that's a relationship that needs to be fixed? You know what I mean? Like, they don't have any chemistry. They argue a lot. They don't. Neither one of them
I
seem like they're
don't know.
happy.
When I saw them at the AA meeting, when like she came to surprise him at his 8 year and did not know that Allison was there, she was excited to see him.
Hmm.
Like she was happy
And he wasn't excited to see her.
because Allison was there. I wonder if Allison was not there,
Hmm.
if he would have been excited to see her. Because it seems like
He
things
and
were going good before Allison. And here's the thing, I'm not saying that
I don't know.
Allison ruined their marriage. I'm not trying to say that at
Hmm.
all. You cannot wreck a home that you were invited to. So I'm not
Hmm.
saying that Allison ruined their marriage, but I think once he had Allison as an option, he was checked
Hmm.
out of that relationship.
I don't think he ever checked in. I don't think there was any hope for that relationship. And honestly, the best thing for her is to get out because I don't think that that man really loves her.
I agree that they should not like like I said, from the first time he met Allison, that relationship was over. And so I'm glad,
Hmm.
that, the truth came out and they were able to break
Hmm.
up. But I Sam got on my nerves because he was
Sam got
like
on my nerves too.
bending over backwards for Allison, but I feel like he was doing that because he was trying to strong arm her into a relationship, because
Agreed.
with nice guys, they are nice and they are so helpful, but but it's usually a tactic to get you
Hmm.
to do what they want. It's not
Want you to do.
altruistic at all.
Again, you're strong. You're trying to strong arm Allison into a relationship because that's who you always wanted to be with. That's who you always wanted to be with. Since you were 17, your wife was always second, at least in your mind, to Allison, and that's why I don't think that their relationship could have been repaired.
But Allison
You
was
know, I don't.
single when they were 17. They could have just been together.
She, I don't think she wanted anything more than just to feel like she beat the other girl. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
yes, they could have been together, but they weren't together.
Mhm.
He didn't leave that girl for her,
Well,
because I don't
do
think
you think he wanted
because
to
it wasn't
leave?
an option.
You don't think Allison would
If
ever
Allison,
want it?
I don't know why she didn't want it when she was 17, but I don't think she wanted a relationship. She wanted to fool around. Because if she had made it clear to that boy at 17 that she was an option, he would have took it then. I don't feel like he ever really liked this girl for real. I think this is like a she's like a plan B,
Mm.
with money.
Well, you
Again,
know how
their
guys have
relationship.
like the woman that they feel like they're supposed to have that looks
Hmm.
good to society. Excuse me.
Hmm.
But that's not like necessarily who like they really like love or vibe with. Maybe it's one of
Hmm.
those situations where she looked good on paper.
That's what I'm saying. She looked good on paper because she met all of his needs. You know what I mean? She's pretty. The girl is like his wife
Yeah.
is beautiful. She's got her stuff together, at least appears to, and her parents have money. So that gives him a lot of access to a lot of things. So that for 17 years, you could just kind of do whatever you wanted to do. And then 8 years ago, you decide you got sober and then you decide you want to run a cafe. You could do all those things because of what she brings access to. But I don't think he likes her as a person. And I don't think that he ever did.
I wonder what she sees in him. Do you think he
I don't
manipulates
know.
her the way he manipulated Allison, in the sense that
Yeah,
he does
he's
stuff like,
he said
like
that.
love bombs her when he needs like to get something from her?
I don't think it's the same way, but he says that. So one of the things that, like, okay, so after Kevin fixes the situation with the parents and he gets to keep the restaurant, him
Mhm.
and Allison are talking, and he's talking about when Kevin was having the marriage interventions with him and telling him
Mhm.
all the stuff that he should do and tell him and basically telling him like, oh, you should like, play your strong, like play the sympathy card, tell you an A. He's like, I am an AA. And he was like, yeah, play that up, act like all like you're all sorry, what have you. And then when he goes back and he's talking to Allison about it after Kevin fixes the thing with the restaurant, he says, Kevin said a lot, told me to do a lot of gave me a lot of horrible marriage advice, but I realized I do those things anyway.
Mm.
That's why I say he has some growth, because he at least recognizes that he does manipulate her, but he plays the sympathy card with Alice, with his wife. I don't know her
Mm-hmm.
name. He plays the sympathy card with his wife and cajoles her to do stuff for him, like get her parents to pay for things, like get him the flint, you know what I mean? And with Allison, he wants to be the hero. He gets to be the hero.
Mm. I don't know. And so I was honestly really proud because I
Mm-hmm.
thought that they were going to run away together. So I was honestly proud of Allison when she left by herself and did not take him with
Mm-hmm.
her, because for whatever reason, Allison loves the way Sam loves her, but does not love Sam. Like
No.
she will bask in the sunshine of his love. She will use him as a henchman and make him complicit in her crimes and her plans, but she does not want to be with him for real.
Mm-mm. No.
She doesn't.
No, she
And
doesn't.
is that not the same thing that he does to his wife?
Yeah.
So
There are no
maybe
good people in the story.
Allison is his karma.
Yeah. That's why I'm like, I did not want them to work it out. I wanted them to get a divorce from the beginning.
Hmm.
I'm like, you deserve better than this. He, even when the way you could tell it, the way he talks about her is negative. He does not have a high opinion of his wife. Like,
Hmm.
you can be having problems with your spouse, but you still have a good opinion of him. He doesn't.
Hmm.
He doesn't he talks about her like and then when you look at it, the situation, you're like, hold on,
How
this
dare
woman is not
you?
this terrible, right? She's not this terrible, horrible shrew or whatever. Not that he said that. I can't remember exactly what he said, but whatever. I just remember it was like a negative tone on how he describes his wife. And
Right.
then when you see the situation, you like, sir, you lucky to be there.
Right. I feel like he looks at his wife and she's like dry and she's not fun, and Alice is fun and exciting. Allison is committing crimes on a
Hmm.
daily basis. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? But he's like enamored and so infatuated with Allison.
Hmm.
So let me ask you, do you feel like Allison had a growth arc during this show?
I'm thinking if she did, it was minimal. If she did, it was minimal. Um, it's hard for me. I don't think so. Not really. She's still to the end. I don't see her do well. The only okay. The growth is directly standing up to Kevin at the end,
Mm-hmm.
telling him she wants the divorce. That is the growth. Like coming back to fix the situation and leave that marriage the right way to leave the marriage. You
Mm-hmm.
know, versus all this extra stuff that she really honestly didn't have to do. She could have disappeared without changing, without stealing somebody's identity. You know what I mean? Like, he couldn't have
Yes.
really, because at the end of the day, we say the whole time, you don't have to kill him. You could have just left. She ends up basically just leaving, but she steals somebody's identity, pretends to be a different person. She really could have just moved. Where was, you know,
Yeah, she
she
just
didn't
could
have
have
to do all
left.
that.
I
She just could
agree
have left.
that she could have just left. Once
Mhm.
again, Allison makes these crazy, overly complicated plans
Plans that don't make no sense.
that are not necessary instead of just being an adult. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? Like that, like once again, I never want to take away from her being a victim. She is
True.
absolutely a victim. She absolutely is. But sometimes the way she conducts herself, she acts like she's still 17. The way she thinks
Oh,
about
wow.
situations, the way she problem solves, it is very much like a teenager and not like an
That's
adult.
true.
Like,
That is true.
and does that come from, once again, you always have to look back, okay, does that come from being isolated and unable to grow and mature for because you've been
Mm.
in this relationship for so long? And so
Mhm.
you got in this relationship when you were 20. You guys
Mhm.
moved in within 2 months, they were living together. So she's been under Kevin's thumb for a long time. So did that arrest her development? Because
Oh, that's a really good question.
I don't like, even when she finally left, yes, she stole a dead person's identity and then she leaves. They live in Massachusetts. She moves to like Maine or like in Vermont. Like she's still in the same like
So
New
way too
England
close.
area. Why?
And I just knew she was going to California. I was like, go to California. Go to where he
California,
can't possibly get to you.
Arizona.
Um,
Why, first of
but to
all, would you choose to stay in that gross weather?
new
Ew.
right. But to answer your point to your point, yes, because the other thing that I see like with Allison that annoyed me the first watch, and I kind of like I think I understood it a little bit more as a byproduct of trauma the second watch was like again with her overly elaborate plans and how she kind of ruins everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like some of that is anxiety. So like
Mm-hmm.
when she hires the guy, the hitman to kill him,
Mm-hmm.
and
I
then
forgot.
she
We didn't
goes to
even
the
talk about
restaurant.
that.
Yeah. And then she goes to the restaurant and the hitman's working at the restaurant and then she freaks out thinking, he can't do it here. He can't do it here. And like Patty's like, of course he's not gonna do it here. And you know he's not gonna do it here. You clearly the man's on probation, he's a drug dealer, he has to have this job to be on probation. Everybody else in the situation who knows what is just her and Patty, but like knows he's not gonna do it there. But I
Right.
can see her getting so anxious that that's why she ends up confronting him and creating that weird moment with the three, her and him and Sam.
Right.
And then she ends up later going to like finding him and saying, you're going to do it my way. You're going to, I'm going to know everything, what have you. And I'm like, that is control. And I think that is control related to anxiety, which again could be an offshoot of the abuse that she's experiencing and why she makes the decision. Because it is irrational, even though, yes, we are talking about somebody who's hired a hitman. But again, you hired him. Just let him do his thing. You know what I mean? Like when the man
Right.
told you don't control it, the less you know, the better. So now you're trying to control it. And I think you're trying to control it because you feel anxious. And I think
Mm-hmm.
there's more situations than just that one. That was the one that sticks out the most where she gets into a situation that had she taken her hands off of it, probably would have worked out fine. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I do think it's anxiety, which is probably some, results of the abuse.
So another situation I think is when she creates the drug sting by turning in the drug dealer that she was beefing with
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
inadvertently like cause all those issues for Patty. Like she a lot of times does make things worse because once
Hmm.
again, like you said, she has to win. And so like
Hmm.
she started like this petty beef with like a petty drug dealer, for no
Hmm.
reason. And it
None.
escalated to the fact that like she actually ruined Patty's drug business.
Hmm. And got the pharmacist arrested.
Yep.
And you know what I mean? Like, and then side note is like kind of what well not ended Patty's relationship because Patty wouldn't commit to Kurt, but then like she couldn't go back because then Kurt started putting two and two together that hey, there's a lot
Hmm.
going on with this woman that I don't know exists.
Yes. Like those plans are so overly elaborate. Like how they went all the way to Vermont to buy some drugs. Like
Hmm.
just and it
Instead of going
couldn't
to
have been
another
that
doctor.
it wasn't even that many drugs.
She is the worst. She's like when that joker at when they went to Vermont to buy drugs and that girl, that guy called her custy. I'm like, no, she's custy in every situation. In
Mhm.
every situation. That's why you didn't get the pills from the doctor because you were custy. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
were. It was so obvious what you wanted, and that she does too. That drives me crazy. I'm
Mhm.
like, you can't hint or be subtle about
No.
nothing. It
For
is so
someone,
obvious that people don't want to give you what you want
yeah, she's the worst schemer ever.
ever.
But because
Even with
she's
the,
willing to like sacrifice any and everyone around her, things work out in her favor. But like things could have just been so easy. Like you
Mhm,
lived all the way like in like Massachusetts, girl, move to
mhm,
Seattle. Like
mhm,
move to Portland. He would not have
mhm.
found you. You know,
Yeah.
like
The
just
other, yeah.
disappear. Throw away your phone because he will
Hmm.
track your phone. Get
Right.
all of your money out in cash and get on a bus. Like it's
Right.
not hard. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, and I know like it's hard for people to leave those situations. But once she
Mhm.
made up her mind that she was
To
going to
go,
leave,
there was a lot easier way to do it.
why? And also, like, I was so irritated when she
Mhm.
left and was miserable.
Me
Ma'am,
too. I'm
you
like,
said this is what you wanted. You wanted to sit in a cafe and drink tea and read a book. If you don't like that book, get a better book. You reading James Joyce, girl. If you don't pick up a romance novel, you're not a
well,
James Joyce person.
oh, see, look at you. You do like the mama because you told her she's not a joy. Like the mom says she's not a ham person. Y'all stop trying to tell that woman her identity.
She could
No.
not get through the book. She was like 5 pages in the book, and she's like, "I'm like, can she read?" Like,
No, no, you so wrong for that. But
maybe she's not a ham person. Maybe her mom was right.
yeah, no, like I'm like, there's no reason why you couldn't have created a happy new life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you created yeah, you did create like a really you got it. You even got a job where your boss liked you. I'm like, okay, so
Mm-hmm.
make a
Mm-hmm.
friend or two. There's
You
nothing
did.
stopping you. And then here's even the name that she was complaining about. I'm like, girl, if you don't go by Trudy and live your
Right.
life,
You could have went by
Gertrude's like,
Trudy.
I
You could
can't
have
be
went by
Gertrude.
True. Like,
Hmm.
you literally going by Gertrude Franch. Like,
And I'm like, is a Gertrude French an ugly name? It is. But you could have been, I would have been Trudy
absolutely, because that would have made it even more difficult for him to find her. But
for him to find you.
Kevin did not care.
Now, okay, this I will say, and maybe we are like making it seem like it's too easy because like he didn't look for her because he thought she died. But if he thought she left, yeah, there probably there would have been some more chasing her down. You
But
know.
you could, but once again, that's why you go really, really far, because
Mm-hmm.
Kevin also has established that he's stupid. You know what I'm
He is dumb.
saying?
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
so I think that
And
she
he ain't
could
got
have
but
gotten
so much
away.
money.
You're
Yeah.
right. I think if she would have went further away, it would have been
Hmm.
fine.
And
Don't
stayed
go
away
to the
longer.
state next door. But like she was so unhappy with Kevin. And she's like,
Hmm.
"Oh, if I can just get from under Kevin, my life will be so great." You
Hmm.
leave and your life is so small. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? That's
Well,
why I wondered
yeah.
about how much growth she had. I do agree that,
Hmm.
but I honestly feel like her confronting Kevin is the only actual growth that she experiences, because
Hmm.
everything up into that was her using all of the things that she's seen Kevin do to her on other people,
Yeah. True.
manipulating people, using people, scheming, hurting
Hmm.
people to benefit herself. It wasn't until she confronted Kevin. But I don't understand what she was homesick for, because like your life was so miserable.
Right.
Like, you
I,
literally, Kevin thought she was dead. She could have texted Patty, "Hey, come see me. This is where I am." Kevin wasn't looking for her because he thought she was dead. If you missed
hmm.
Patty like that, you could have just
Yeah.
like, "Hey Patty, come see me for the weekend." Kevin wouldn't have thought
Hmm.
anything of it. He don't really be checking for Patty like that.
He don't. Yeah, I the one thing we didn't talk about is how the town is a character within itself.
It
Um,
is.
Worcester, there's a layer of desperation, of hopelessness that just sits on that town in the way that they describe it in the show. You know, no
Mhm.
offense to anybody who actually lives in Worcester, Massachusetts, but the show's portrayal of the town is like a character in itself, and you feel that desperation and you feel that hopelessness. But there's also like one of those small towns where and we lived in one of these type of small towns before, where it's like a black
Mhm.
hole, and it's like it sucks you back in because like even Sam says that he was like something about it. This town brings you back, and yeah, from the outside looking in, there's nothing there. You know, you don't have good
Mhm.
relationships there. You have a interesting relationship with your next door neighbor. So I don't
Right.
think that relationship is healthy for Patty. But
It's not. It's not healthy for either one of them, because
mhm,
Patty allows Allison to manipulate her.
mhm,
You know what I mean? And
yeah.
Allison does. No one should be encouraging her to like do the same things that Kevin does to her to other people. So
Right.
that yeah, no, that relationship is completely unhealthy. But
Yeah.
you know what? Like the town is also an enabler of Kevin's abuse to bring it
Mhm.
back with the town being a character. Like in that town, Kevin is well known and he
Mhm.
has a a reputation, which annoys me because I'm like, he's doing so many things, but when people see him, they're like, oh, Kevin's so fun. Kevin's
He's the
so
wild
funny.
dude.
He's so interesting. He's always doing something. You know, he's
Mhm.
well known in the town and he's known in a positive light, even though like he's always up to different antics. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? But that also inoculates him, you know, and it makes it easier for him to abuse Allison because he overall has he's popular and he has a positive reputation. So when
Mhm.
people like look at that situation between him and Allison, they're giving Kevin every benefit of the doubt,
Mhm.
you know, and
Absolutely.
they think that she feels the same way they feel about him.
Mhm. Or they think, or for the ones that are closer, think that she's complaining and nagging him. Like
And she
Neil and
deserves the
Patty,
treatment.
before her and
Hmm.
Patty become friends, like they allude to her Neil nagging him or what have you. Yeah.
Hmm. So yeah, I do think that that was interesting, an interesting choice, and I like the choice that they made, where they made like the setting, the
Mhm.
town, kind of it's another character and a key
Right.
part of the story because that story looks different.
Mhm.
This story looks different in New York City
Yeah.
versus Worcester, Massachusetts.
Absolutely. The one thing I want to say too, and as far as the town being a character, is that I also felt like that was part of the why certain relationships got formed. And I think it was again that layer of desperation. This is a small town. Feels like a small town. You know, there's not a lot of people here, so we just got to deal with what we got because there's no reason, there's no chemistry between Patty and Kurt. They're together for 3 years, sitting together, and it's like it to me. It just gave like, well, there's nobody else. Like, you know, this is all I got. This is my only option. And then
Hmm.
when Tammy comes along, it's like, oh, this is a slightly better option. And it's the only option I got. And it's the only reason why I could see Tammy pursuing Patty as hard as she did, because I'm like, what there's got to be an air of desperation there because what else is it?
Well, I think Tammy has a type, and the reason why I say that is because the if you remember, the cops are teasing Patty, and they said, "Oh, we thought Tammy was done dating neighborhood girls."
Mm,
When they were like taking Allison and Patty during the
mm-hmm,
blackout to like their friend's house,
mm-hmm.
they were teasing Patty about her relationship with Tammy, and they said something like Tammy said that I thought Tammy said she was done dating neighborhood girls. So I think that Tammy has a type.
But
I
what's
don't
a neighborhood girl?
understand.
Because Tammy is also from Worcester, been there her whole life. So how's she not a neighborhood girl? What do they
Tammy
mean?
is she's not she may I don't know if she's from Worcester, but
She
she's
says she
not of
is.
Worcester. Oh, she did.
She,
She's not of Worcester. Like she does not act like they act.
mm-hmm,
You know what I'm saying? And even when you see her with her people, like when you
mm-hmm,
like at game night when she's with her sister and their friend,
mm-hmm,
they are a different class of people.
mm-hmm.
So I think the neighborhood, yeah,
Tammy's
I
not
said
high
it's
class.
obvious that Tammy is in a higher class than
Okay.
Patty and Allison too. And you know,
Mm-hmm.
Tammy, the way that she moves, the way she conducts herself, the way she speaks, even her the way that she thinks, she's in a higher class. And so that's when they said she's a neighborhood girl, they mean like a lower class girl.
You feel like that was a classist comment? Okay.
It yes. Think about Tammy and
Okay.
her friends. And if Patty would have
Mm-hmm.
actually shown up to that game night, she would have stuck out like a sore thumb.
Yeah. I think the best thing Tammy did was leave. I wanted Tammy to leave.
Yes.
I wanted to, because I was like, yeah, no, but you absolutely can have a wonderful career as a detective or whatever you're trying to get to in the police force. You have the ability, you have the skill. There's no reason for you to stay in Worcester.
Right. I was happy that Tammy left too, even though once again I did not like Tammy. And I'm actually trying to
Hmm.
go through the characters in this show and figure out who I did like. And I think my
Hmm.
answer is Diane.
Yeah, you do speak highly of
I
Diane.
like
I
Diane.
do like
Like
Diane.
as a good like I feel like Diane is a good person and she is someone that I would actually like be like
Mhm.
associated with in real life. No one else though.
Mhm.
Like I wouldn't say Diane would be
I
I wouldn't be friends with Diane, but if we were
mhm.
associates, I would be okay with that.
See, outside of the context of Patty, I don't have an issue with Tammy. My all of my issues with Tammy are in relationship to how she treats and interacts with Patty.
Which lets me know that I could not be friends with her. Because I feel like if you would treat your partner that way, you're probably
Mhm.
like overly pushy in friendships too.
Mhm.
I
Yeah, I don't like how she doesn't take no for an answer. I'm like, sometimes when that girl was sick, I'm like, listen, even though I know she lying, she just don't want you to come in the house. But either way, if someone says I'm sick, no, I don't want to go, you accept that. What is wrong with you?
also she's dry. Like Tammy, it doesn't have enough
Hmm.
personality to be our friend. Like let's be real. She doesn't have enough personality.
True.
Like she would not last in our friend group.
Hmm.
So no. And I like Allison definitely not. Sam is a big creeper, and
Hmm.
like Kevin and Neil need to be in prison. So yeah, I'm sorry. The only acceptable human being is Diane.
Okay. Yeah.
Great show though, because you want like I interesting
Hmm.
characters, imperfect
Hmm.
people, flawed people make for the best TV.
Yeah, I know we just kind of like went in on everybody, but I did enjoy the show,
Loved
and
it.
I do like it when the yeah when they don't make the characters perfect. Like it actually would irritate me if the character if Allison had been perfect and everybody around her, like that would have drove me crazy. I can't stand shows like that. It's not real.
Hmm.
Um, so I do, even though she irritated me some the most, some of the most, like maybe after Kevin. Um, I still like that they made her flawed and not like this perfect innocent victim.
Hmm.
They really gave her character a lot of depth. And like I said, I do think that they showed really, because some of it, I think is her, and then some of it I think are the effects of abuse, and I feel
Hmm.
like they displayed that well.
So yeah, I definitely think if you have watched our commentary and you haven't watched the show, I feel bad for you because it was very disjointed. But if you haven't watched the
It-
show, give it a watch. If you have watched the show, I would say go back and watch it now, like after hearing our breakdowns, and see what other things that you pick up on, because this show is very much like an onion. There's so many layers and there's so many different
so well done.
things that you pick up. Like bravo to that team. Give us
Oh
more.
yeah,
We are starving.
absolutely.
Feed us. Like do something else. I can't
Yes,
wait to see what else you
that
guys
was
can kick
wonderful.
up. So I'm really excited
Absolutely.
that we just completed our first show breakdown. I'm really looking forward
Yes.
to doing more. I'm really, want excited that you guys are going to get to know us and like our perspectives and maybe learn about a new show. Learn about us.
Absolutely.
So we'll see you next time, guys.
See you next time. Thank you.
I'm ready for the next episode. Can't wait to get home and turn my TV on. I'm ready for the next episode. Got my snap shoes off, no remote control. I'm ready for the next episode. 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 I'm ready for the next episode.